Hey everyone, Jeremy here. It's Friday night and we're going to create some art. It's also December 1st, so Christmas is coming up soon, so that's pretty awesome. I'm not doing a Christmas picture tonight, but you guys can expect some of that coming soon. I've got a couple of ideas. I haven't really worked any out completely. But tonight we're just keeping it low key. I thought I'd do a simple charcoal drawing. The story behind that is I was actually at the post office mailing out a piece of art to somebody, and the lady behind the counter was like weighing the package and was like, "This is kind of light." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, it's a drawing." And they're like, "Oh, I draw too." And I'm like, "Oh really? That's kind of cool." And they're like, "Yeah, I draw in charcoal." And I'm like, "I draw in charcoal." Oh wait a minute, I haven't drawn in charcoal in quite some time. So that's the story behind that. I wanted to do a messy charcoal picture just because I haven't done one in a while. And they're a lot of fun. So that's what we're going to do tonight. And if you guys want to chat with me, feel free to jump in the chat. Otherwise, I'm just going to get started. These are a lot of fun, and they kind of go pretty fast. Well, not really fast. Like, it still takes a little while, but the idea is to keep it kind of like loose and expressive. So basically, I just make a big old mess, and then I try to find some picture in it. So I'm just going to jump right in. Again, if anybody's out there and you guys want to chat, feel free. Otherwise, I'm just going to get working. So again, there's really no like precision to this. I just kind of want to make a big old mess and kind of try to find a picture in it. In this case, I'm doing a portrait, so I kind of want to find a face if I can. But hey, kid's in the room. How's it going, kid? So yeah, just make a big old mess and try to find a face in it. Some of you guys have been in this channel for a while, and you guys have seen some of these before, but I haven't done one in a while, and it's always so much fun to do that I thought I'd keep it kind of low key tonight and do this. Like I was saying, I do have some Christmas pictures coming up soon, but I haven't fully worked out in my mind what those were going to be. I was going to do a reindeer tonight, but I didn't feel like painting. I feel like if you're going to do a reindeer, you should do that in color. But just some nice black and white pictures. Those are always fun. So as you can see, I'm just making a big old mess, but also at the same time, I'm trying to figure out where things might be in this. So just kind of bear with me. Oh, I'm sorry, kid. That kind of sucks. Not kind of, that definitely sucks. I mean, it's the season for it. We're all going to end up with it eventually. Like every year I get my flu shot and it doesn't really matter because like I end up getting the flu anyway. I hope you get better soon. What's your home remedy for that? Are you eating a lot of soup or just kind of like trying to sweat it off? Like usually whenever I get sick, I just kind of curl up under the blankets and avoid the world for a while if I can. Hopefully, hopefully it waits a while before I get sick. Usually I get sick around like January. It's usually like well, all right. So Christmas, that's it. Because like my niece has a bunch of kids and we go over to her house, and those kids are like germ magnets. So basically, just throw down a bunch of charcoal, kind of blend it out so that you got sort of like a tone to work with. In this case, I'm kind of just putting the face up in the upper right hand corner. So a lot of this is going to be like not really negative space because it's going to have stuff in it, but it's not going to be like the focal point. Hey, Bill, just drinking fluids. Yeah, that'll work. Flush it out. I do hope you feel better soon. So you may notice that like I'm keeping one side of this face, or you can already kind of see a face. So like there's a face here, maybe draped in hair. Um, but I'm trying to keep like one side of the face kind of like in the shadows, and then one side of the face a little bit lighter. And we'll kind of work with that a little bit here in a little bit. But still trying to figure out where all the things are. Like I said, it's been a while since I've done one of these. I used to do quite a few of them. And I do like to revisit things that I haven't done in a while just to remind myself how to do it. So if I kind of struggle here, it's because I haven't done one in a while. But I like the idea of just like a face up in the upper right hand corner, hair kind of just draping off, kind of like curtains. And then I don't know how long this is going to take. I've done some of these kind of like really quickly before. I've done ones that didn't have like a lot of detail in it. It only took me like 20 minutes, but usually if I put some time into it, I can get some decent details into it as well. So that's what I'm trying to do tonight at least. I like this way of drawing. It's fun. At some point, I'm going to take up painting seriously, and I'm going to try to kind of mimic the style of like quickly framing in or blocking in, whatever you want to call it, the basic composition, and then kind of like just let it kind of go from there. And I always try to like stay pretty close to the reference picture, but I I kind of diverge quite a bit while I'm doing these as well. Because like for me, it's more of see where it takes me rather than trying to copy something specifically. I think that's what I like most about these pictures is they do feel like super creative, like you're letting the mess guide you. And I've talked about these before, like it's like seeing faces in the clouds and things like that. Um, it's like really letting your imagination kind of just go crazy. Some happy little hair here, happy little face there. That sort of thing. I've been watching way too much Bob Ross lately. They got like all the episodes here on YouTube. So like, if you're not watching me, and I do encourage people to watch me, like I do appreciate when you guys tune in. But if you're not watching me, watch Bob Ross. Kind of let that flow off of the hair, the head. There you go. Let the hair flow off the head. As you can tell, I've been drinking already. Starting the evening early. Yeah, I think drinking fluids is probably best. I don't really know though. Like my brother is actually he's not in the medical field now, but when he was in the Navy, he was a hospital corpsman. So he's kind of the one defer to when it comes to like medical type advice. But yeah, so basically I don't know shit is what I'm saying. And but I think drinking lots of fluids is probably good. Keeps you hydrated because like I don't know, you end up sweating a lot of that stuff out, and you could end up dehydrated, I think. The other thing about making like these big messy pictures and stuff is like I don't know, I kind of feel like a real artist, you know? Because you always see artists in the movies, they're like drawing quickly and all that stuff. Like I could never really pull that off. Um, in my more technical pieces, I call them technical just because they look more like I don't know, considered or whatever. It does help that this lady has like straight hair because I've been kind of going crazy with it. Like when I do portraits, I've been doing like pastel portraits quite a bit, and it seems like the hair just kind of goes all over the place. I should stick with like some straight haired girls for a while just to rein myself in a little bit. I'm not very good at drawing hairstyles, but the straight hair is easy, not easy, but it's easier to manage because you're just kind of like drawing some lines and letting it flow. And then this would kind of come around her cheek. So let me kind of add some more tone over here. The other thing with these pictures is like I kind of go over the same areas like multiple times And the reason for that is it's kind of like this push-pull process where you're like working in shadows and then kind of bringing out the light. It does look like a big scribbled mess, but eventually it kind of comes together. Hopefully. We'll see. I should probably not like, jinx myself by saying, oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm definitely not going to say that creature that I mentioned last week because, like, some stupid supernatural thing or whatever caused my camera to blip out. And I think it's because I mentioned the unnameable creature. All right, let's go ahead and test this. So, like I said, Mothman, and then my camera blipped out. So I'm gonna test that by saying Mothman again just to see what happens. It's early enough in the broadcast, right? I think I can recover, or the stream, or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, just mentioning Mothman for some reason caused my all my equipment to crap out. So we'll see if that happens again. Hopefully everybody's enjoying their holiday so far, except for a kid who is not enjoying much of anything, I imagine. It sucks to be sick. I hate being sick. You just feel like crappy. Like you don't even want to face the world. So I do kind of want a little bit of tone over here, but not too much. I have that just kind of blend down. I didn't want a space there, so let me fill that in. Maybe I'll lift some of that up with the eraser. So the process is you just end up putting all this charcoal down, kind of really blend it in so that it becomes super soft. Or at least my process, everybody does charcoal a little bit differently. Like, I'd like to that girl at the post office that I was telling you about. I'd like to actually run into her again and kind of ask her kind of how she uses charcoal. I've only met a few artists like in real life, like not online, that use charcoal. So I haven't really been able to ask anybody any questions. Like, for those of you who don't know, like the people in the chat already do, but people who tune in later or whatever, I'm kind of self-taught, right? So like, I watch tutorials on like what other people do, and I try to imitate them. I'm just like a big old mimic, I guess. Um, so I don't really know like what the because I didn't go to school for it or whatever. I don't know like what they teach in school on how to use charcoal or anything like that. I just kind of make it up as I go along. Let's see. So the shoulder would be behind the hair and it would kind of come across here. So I kind of want to draw this in because I want to highlight that shoulder. I like playing with dark like lights and shadows and stuff. It's fun for me. Following the light, hiding in the shadows. Always kind of cool. Anyway, I don't really know, except like from watching tutorials, which, if you're on YouTube, and you're following art, you're kind of watching what other people do. So you're doing similar stuff. But anyway, I am kind of curious what they teach in school. Okay, so that's looking pretty good so far. Do want the mouth to be kind of here. So as I'm working this, again, many of you guys are familiar with the process, but in case you aren't, I'm kind of trying to figure out like where different shapes are and the sizes of them because it's so messy, right? And I can still move features around as I'm going along, um, which is kind of how I want to like practice painting whenever I get the chance. It seems like I'm so busy these days, but whenever I do get a chance to practice painting, I want to try doing the same thing where you put down like blobs of paint and you try to get shapes out of it. But it seems to work, this process. Again, I don't know what other charcoal people do. There was this one guy at Comic-Con. Oh, I got a story to tell about Comic-Con. Anyway, let me tell about this guy. So this guy, I mean, he created these really cool charcoal pictures. They were like monsters and stuff like that. And I forget his name, but if I find his name, I'm going to share it with you guys because that's what I consider like some really cool charcoal work. And the guy just draws monsters and stuff like that. Like there's a I forget how to pronounce his name, but there's a guy who does like he called his like art Necronomicon or something like that, but it has nothing to do with like the occult version. It's just a bunch of like I don't know, alien versus predator type art. But anyway, that's what the kind of stuff this guy's does. He's amazing at it. But anyway, um I wanted to mention I looked into Comic Con because it's December now and our Comic Con is in March. I'm just rattling off of the mouth tonight. Sorry, I'm all hopped up. Um, anyway, I was looking into Comic Con because I figured like, hey, it's December. If I start drawing pictures now for Comic Con, maybe I'll be ready by like March and stuff. Maybe I can get a booth and just like see how that works and everything. So I went and looked up what it costs for Comic Con. It's like $900 for like a 10-foot by 10-foot booth. It is ridiculous. Like the amount of art you have to sell in order to just break even is just like crazy. So my dream of being like an artist at a Comic Con and stuff just got dashed. I mean, I'm sure there's like smaller Comic Cons I can try out just to get my feet wet or something, but like I don't even know. Like, how did somebody sell $900 worth of art like in one weekend? That's crazy. And there's like people who keep going back. So I imagine they're doing well, but just like that's just crazy to me. But yeah, my my dreams for being a Comic Con artist got kind of dashed recently. So that's a bummer. Maybe I'll revisit it someday, but definitely not for like next year. And then, sorry, I am just rambling tonight. Um, I also looked into like this art fair that's nearby, and hey Lorraine, how's it going? I also looked into this art fair, and I was like, well, Comic Con seems really expensive. I heard that the art fair was only like $600 for the entire weekend. So maybe I'll just like, I don't know, do like more traditional art and show up for that art fair. And I went looking into that, and that art fair, it's actually a juried art fair. So you have to like apply and make the list and all of that stuff. So I'm like, well, maybe I can get in early because that's not until like August. Nope, that's already filled up. So I don't know what I'm gonna do with my art passion in the coming year. I don't know how I'm gonna explore that. The two ideas I had are kind of bust. So I don't know how to maybe I can try to look for a smaller one, smaller Comic Con, smaller art shows. I don't know. But the two I really want, nope, not gonna happen. Yeah, just running a mile a minute today. Um, Combination of drinking way too much coffee and then also too much bourbon. Hopefully, I'm not talking you guys' ear off too much. I think this is starting to come together. I'm starting to see a face here. Hopefully, you guys are as well. Starting to see how this is going to go. And I haven't even gotten into the lifting bit. Hey, Ada. Thank you. This is what I call a messy charcoal picture where I just create a big old mess and try to find a face in it. I used to do a lot more of these. I haven't done any in a while. Some form in that neck. I think down here it should be kind of like a little bit more in shadow. I think more on this side than the other side. And then should probably come up a little bit and get lighter as it goes up. This is a good way to just like quickly add form. Yeah, kind of like that. Just scribble art. Yeah, so hopefully it won't stay abstract. I'm gonna I'm gonna kind of like give it a little bit of definition here. So again, once you have a big old mess, the next part of the process is you kind of come in with like a kneadable eraser, and it's best to use a kneadable eraser because it doesn't leave any like residue, but also you can kind of form it, and then you kind of like almost do a little bit of sculpting. So you start sculpting out the lighter areas. So like, see how this nose is kind of formless? I want there to be kind of like a ridge on that nose. So I'll lift some of that charcoal up, and then you start getting a little bit of form. It's hard to see on camera, but I like to call this part sculpting because that's what it feels like. It feels like you've got like a mess. Maybe it feels that way because I've got this kneadable eraser, which I do use like quite often to kind of sculpt when I'm bored. But this part feels like sculpting. So I kind of call it sculpting. So like, for example, you've got this kind of ridge here underneath the nose. Just kind of lift some of that charcoal up and get kind of like a highlight going there. Carve out a little bit more. This big old mess is a weird looking lip. So kind of carve a natural lip into this a little bit. Get that Cupid's bow going. Kind of lighten this up a little bit. And you want, I want this side to be like really highlighted, but the other side, there's like, it's almost like when you're drawing with a pencil and you're like using different heaviness of the pencil to create darker areas and lighter areas. The same goes with this erasing bit. So like the lighter you do it, the less charcoal comes up, and you can get like some variation in that tonal value. So like this bit here, this big old smudge, I don't want that there. So I'll just kind of lift that up to kind of form that cheek a little bit better. All of this should be like highlighted. So it's a bit of sculpting. Now, again, over here in the dark area, I still want that to be rather dark, but you know, there's a little bit of a light variation. So you just kind of lightly go over it and you start lifting that up and you start getting some form in there. This is what's so great about charcoal. Like, I love charcoal. I don't use it all that often because people prefer color. So I like to I like to vary it up. So like, I don't want my channel to be all black and white. So I'll come back to charcoal like when I feel like I've done enough color pieces, which I've done a lot lately. So I feel comfortable going with charcoal now. But um, yeah, it's such a versatile medium that I just love it. So kind of up here, it gets a little bit lighter. It's just amazing the transformation, like especially you get to see it in the time lapses. It looks really cool how it goes from like a big old mess to starting to take some shape and some form, and you end up getting like an actual face out of it. Like already, like she looks so different than she did like even 5 minutes ago, really. And some people, like I said, I've done some of these that don't look all that great. That only took me like 20 minutes to do, but there's some masters out there that like just create like an entire beautiful portrait in like 20 minutes. That's what I would like to do. I would like to get my charcoal pictures um, done like to the point where I can get them done in like maybe 20 to 30 minutes because then I can do like portraits for people while they wait. That's a goal of mine. I don't know if I'm ever going to reach that goal because these things usually take too long, but you go streaming. Oh, yeah. So for those who don't know, Ada has a channel as well, and she creates like really cool art. So like, if you are bored and you want to check out some other really cool art, definitely check out her channel, which it sounds like she's going live in a little bit. Yeah, I can. I'll stop in on your channel. Sorry, I didn't read that part. Yeah, I'll stop by. That's one of the things I like about YouTube is artists support each other. Like it's just one big group. Except the really good artists that like have long lost interest in like the little guys like us. They've then moved on. But for the most part, people are pretty supportive on YouTube. Yeah, that's no problem. I love your work. It's fun to watch. So as you can see, like just lifting up a little bit, you create that form on that side that's kind of lost in shadows. Um, Probably need to get a little bit more going here. And I'm not I say this every single time, but it's true. I'm not really set in stone on any of these features yet, right? So like I'm still feeling my way around. That's why charcoal's so great because I can come back. I can come back and just like smudge all of this out and start over if I wanted to. I'm not going to because I think this is actually turning out pretty good. But you can do that kind of stuff and just kind of keep trucking along. It's great. Right now, she's kind of got this Morticia look to her face. That's unintentional. Like this eyebrow here is just way too much. Too much of an eyebrow. I'm gonna carve that down a little bit. And then this one over here needs to be built up a little bit more. All right, so her eye is going to be looking off to the side. So you come back in, and even though you've already made your marks and everything, you can kind of come in with like, take your kneadable eraser and make it like almost like a pen almost. And you can come in and lift some of that charcoal up and kind of redirect that eye. So now she's like looking off to the side. Now I know over here, just to be consistent, not so much over here because I do think I'm going to have some hair kind of covering up most of this eye. So let me bring this hair a little bit over some. Let's smudge that out. I want that to be softer. So I want most of this eye over here to be kind of covered up. A little bit of mystery to her face. You don't get to see the whole thing. Around this a little bit. I think that looks cool. So how's everybody's Friday going? Except for Kid, who is not doing very well. I'm so sorry. I'd send you some soup if I could. Order some Uber Eats for you, have it dropped off. I could do that actually. I have your address. Yeah, I can Uber Eat you some soup. I'm probably not going to. I'll forget like by the end of this thing, but if I was so inclined, I could do that. Oh no, wait, I have your post office box. That would be awkward. Like soup showing up at this post office. Now that I think about it. It's the thought that counts. I'm thinking soup for you. There you go. Oh, it's for yeah, Saturday for you. Yeah, because you're over in New Zealand. I think. Yeah, I think you're in New Zealand. And Saturday sounds better than Friday. I like Fridays though. Lighten that cheek up. Let's see. Let me work on this mouth over here a little bit. I feel like that's probably the next step. This definitely need to be a lot lighter. Make the part somewhere in the middle, but more towards the top because you're like kind of looking up a little bit. That's the other reason why I like to do these charcoal pictures is because they're a quick way to kind of like do a study of different expressions um, in like the human face, which, you know, is notoriously difficult. Like it's one thing to like draw a picture of a person, but to like get the expression right, that's always challenging. I kind of want the shadow to be here. Lighten this up a little bit. And lighten this up a little bit here. Now, I will say lips are kind of hard for me. Some people are like really good at these things, but for me, it's a bit of a challenge. But that's okay. I like to challenge myself. I feel like get there eventually. I'm gonna take a couple passes. That's the other cool thing about this. Again, you know, like if something isn't going the way you want, you can just kind of smudge it out and kind of like start over. Just keep working it until you're happy with it. And like I said, I feel like it's the same way with painting. That's why I feel like when I get some time, which I haven't had a ton of time lately, end of the year is always busy for me. Um, when I get some time, I'm going to apply some of these same techniques to painting and see how that goes. I think it'll go well. You know, where you start with a big old mess and you kind of like keep working at it until it starts developing the way you want it to. Always this like light area right above the lip that catches the light. Let's see over here, a little bit of light. I hate drawing portraits in this like perspective. Well, I hate it because I'm not very good at it, but I am practicing. So, uh, you know, do what makes you feel uncomfortable until you get it right. But anyway, I always worry about like giving them a pig nose by accident. You know what I'm talking about? Like the nose is like I gotta be careful with the charcoal, but um, the nose is kind of like pointed upwards and just kind of like the nostrils are too big, and I don't I don't intentionally want to give a pig nose here. So gonna keep working it until I'm happy with it. This nostril here is way too high, so I'm gonna bring that down a little bit. Just keep keep working it until you're happy with it. I don't know if you guys noticed or not, but I kind of moved that nostril. Little sleight of hand there. I want this to kind of come up here. I don't want to get too crazy there. This is where I kind of go to blending stumps when I get into like areas that are a lot smaller because I've got these big chunky fingers. I have to be kind of careful with some of these more like small delicate features. Lift that up a little bit, shape it. Yeah. And then also with these blending stumps, you can use the blending stump as a pencil for like lighter areas. So like this here, I barely have any charcoal on the end of this stump, but by really pressing down hard, I can create this little shadow here that would probably be a little bit difficult to draw. But I want it to be kind of nice and blurry anyway. Really like soft and blurred out. The blending stump's good for that. And I don't really know where I learned to use a blending stump. It just kind of happened. A lot of a lot of art is intuitive, I think. Like you just kind of mess around and then, oh wow, that worked, and you just keep doing that. You look for things that work, and then once you find that something that does work, you just kind of repeat it over and over and over. And that cheek up a little bit underneath the eye. Yeah. I like the way you put that. You kind of build it up, and then again, you can go back and forth on this as much as you want. I don't know if you noticed or not, but I work on one area. I'm not happy with it. I come back, I erase it. I add more charcoal. I erase that. So it's just this constant push and pull. So I like the way you put it, of building it up and then, in some cases tearing it back down and building it back up again. It's just this back and forth until you're happy with it. Get a few little wisps of hair in here. I'll come back and tinker with that some more. But so like here, even though I've got this charcoal down, I can still smooth out some of these areas and kind of like basically change your bone structure as I'm going, because like the light really kind of tells you what's happening underneath, like in terms of like your skull and muscle and all that stuff. So the more you blend, you can like blend out an area. Adding more light lets you know that I don't know where I was going with that thought, but yeah. So like blending out this area here is introducing some light, so that's kind of like reshaping her face essentially. It's just weird. It's weird because like I'm drawing a person, so it's like weird to think of it as like I'm reshaping her face. Like I'm not really changing her face. I'm changing my drawing, but it is like sculpting in a way. So like even though it's a real person, the picture at least I'm building from, like, the picture didn't exist. I mean, it was a white piece of paper a minute ago. It's just weird to think about. I don't know, like the philosophy of art. Yeah, this is a little bit too dark, so I'm kind of lift some of that up. But I do like how that looks. So I still think this eyebrow over here is maybe a bit too high. This one over here, kind of introduce some more light through there. One of the most difficult things you face when doing a portrait is getting the tonal values right. But also, those are the things that really make your picture work. Reshape that eye just a little bit. Bring some light into here. The line's a little doubled up. Okay, so that's kind of cool. Let me try to get some more definition into her neck here, because this part is catching the light a little bit more. And it kind of comes across here. And then this kind of spreads out a little bit. I don't know what that part is called, but this line here is actually a little bit harder than it should be. That's probably something that like I'd have to go back and look at the time lapse, but I probably came in with like a big smudge there, and a little bit harder of a line than I wanted to be. Necks are soft. There should be like some softness there. Get a little bit of highlight here, kind of defining the hair. So I started with a brand new eraser this time, which is good. Like, eventually these erasers end up with way too much charcoal in it for you to be able to pick up things. But when they're brand new like this, it's they really do pick up a lot of charcoal, which is great. So like if you're doing a picture just for fun, like I'm doing tonight, it really doesn't matter. But if you're doing a picture that you actually care about, like say you're doing a portrait of a friend or a commission or whatever, use a new kneadable eraser. That's my advice. Get some highlight on that hair. Let's see, right around this eye, there's a ridge of light. As you can see, the eraser kind of does some of the work for you on the hair, right? So like you spend a lot of time drawing highlights in hair and dark areas on hair. This eraser does wonders for that. And one of the things I'd like to get, I still haven't gotten around to it yet, even though they sell them at like basically every art store, is there's like fine point erasers, like almost as fine as a pencil. And I haven't bought that yet, but I really want to so that I can get these like lines of highlights in the hair a little bit better. I'm not that worried about it because I can work without it, but it would be kind of a little bit of a time saver, I think. Our brand. So the I don't even know the brand of eraser. They're pretty generic. Like they're all basically the same. As far as like charcoal, again, you can get by with like even the cheap stuff. So like the no-name brand and stuff that you find at basically any store. But if you care about brands and you want to get probably the kind that most people get, there's a brand called Generals, and they make really nice charcoal products. So like they make charcoal in various different softness and hardness, and just like with regular pencils, like graphite pencils. Uh, the harder the pencil is, the lighter the marks are going to be. So it's the same with charcoal. Like the harder the charcoal, you're going to get lighter marks out of it. Um, so I think this is Generals, and I'm using like a medium charcoal here. This one I don't think is. This one I think is like Daler. I don't know. It's hard to see because it's got like charcoal residue all over it. Basically, I didn't put a lot of thought into the brand, if that helps. So it doesn't really matter so much on charcoal. Like they all kind of work the same. But if you do care and you're like actually making an effort to get quality, I would go with Generals. That's just because that's what everybody seems to use. It's not like I have a personal preference. Honestly, I want to use like generic stuff just to see if I can make a pretty picture with it. Like on this show, you can you can rest assured I am using whatever's the cheapest. Just because like I don't know, I don't like to spend a lot of money on art supplies. Because like my idea is that like I like the idea of the old classic artists maybe living in Italy back in the Renaissance times or something like that. That guy, he reached into a fire pit and pulled out a piece of burnt stick or something. That was his art supplies. And even though we live in modern times and you don't really have to go that route, I like the idea of that. Like, I would like to do art with supplies that you could like literally reach into a fire pit and pull out and make a pretty picture with. So nothing that I've got here is expensive. I think maybe I paid $5 for this charcoal set. And like you can get a little bit fancier than that. I like to punish myself and use, the most difficult stuff. There's some products out there that I would love to buy. It's just a little bit pricier. Um, like you can get charcoal powder and some smudging tools and stuff like that to work with the charcoal powder. I've seen some people create really cool pictures with that stuff. It comes out super soft, really pretty, but then you're looking. I don't know what the conversion would be for like New Zealand dollars, but here in the U.S. that would be like $20, which isn't a lot. Like that's how cheap I am. $20 isn't anything. I can definitely afford $20 in art supplies. I just don't because I'm like I don't know. I like to punish myself. But yeah, like I would love to give that a shot though. Maybe I'll do that just to do it. But I would like to play with some charcoal powder and get the little smudge sticks that people use because they look like they create really cool stuff. I'm gonna bring her. She's got too much of a pointy eyebrow here, so I'm gonna kind of round this off a little bit so that it's not sticking straight up like that. She's got these demon eyebrows. That's unintentional. So there are like little strands of hair that kind of come across, but I'm gonna wait until like later to do that, just so that in case I decide to smudge some stuff up, I'm not losing that. Hopefully that answers your question. I guess my best answer on what brand is like whatever's cheapest because especially when practicing. Like when you're a master or something, go ahead and go for those high priced, expensive convenience tools. I would call them. When you're practicing, go with cheap. That's my opinion. Especially when it comes to paint. One of my fears of painting is that like paints are so expensive that I feel like I'm going to waste a lot of paint in practicing. So I've got some cheap watercolor sets. I've got some cheap gouache sets. I've got some cheap acrylics. And it's not like I can't afford the more expensive stuff. It's just I don't want to like waste money um, on the expensive supplies until I've kind of mastered it. And I don't think I'll ever master it. So I always have that excuse. But you can't go wrong with generals, and generals isn't really that expensive. Um, Art students use generals. My brother, my younger brother, not my older brother. I talk about my older brother probably more often, but my younger brother actually did go to art school. He didn't finish it. He ended up dropping out, but he spent some time in art school, and I still got some of his charcoals from when he was in art school, and those were all generals. Fix this nose over here. Get a real shape going there on that nose. And then now that I've done that, I gotta fix this nose over here. I think it's a little bit too high. Bring that down there. So if it's Saturday for you, you guys are gonna have a New Year's before us. So you're like talking to me from the future. That's cool. How's Saturday? Like, I won't get to experience Saturday until tomorrow. Anything I should be worried about on Saturday? Like, so weird time zones. this up. I do like these kneadable erasers because you can get these like really fine points. Again, that's only with the new ones. Like after you've used it for a while, it starts to lose that effect. But grab this little twig here and get some lighter area on this. All right, I've been putting it off too long, so let me try to fix up this mouth here. I feel like maybe if I just kind of smudge downward, yeah, I like that a little bit. Just kind of smudge that out and kind of get some form in there. The other great thing about these erasers is like you can get some solid shapes in there, like I just did. I don't know, maybe you guys don't see how I that worked out, but I like how that worked out. But you can get some pretty solid shapes with your eraser. Just big chunks of light area. And then the other tip, which it's a little early for, but always have like a so I actually do have some tips for working with charcoal that'll save you some time and trouble. So I usually use like white paper myself, just because again I'm cheap, and the tone paper costs a little bit more. But if you can, get the tone paper, and there's a reason why. Because like I work with I my process creates the like the midtones, and then I come back and I add like some shadow and some highlights on the midtone. But if you start with tone paper, a lot of that work's already done for you in the tone of the paper itself. So in that case, you're just applying shadows and highlights, which is a simpler process. So like when I start off with a messy charcoal picture, a lot of that is just to get a tone in there that I can work with. Starting with tone paper, you don't have to worry about all that. Now you lose some of the coolness of it, like it is a lot more fun to create a messy charcoal picture. So you lose that awesome effect, but it'll also save you some time and effort and all that stuff. Now I have created my own tone paper, and I bought the tone paper as well. But I like this process just because it's fun, but it definitely adds more work than is necessary. So like all of this tone through here, that should just be like shadows added onto like the already toned paper, if that makes sense. Maybe I'm not explaining it very well. Again, working back and forth, creating some form there, adding a little bit of shadow. Sorry if you guys hear my dog snoring. I guess my dog snoring instead of barking is better. I think I need to widen this nostril here, or this nose piece, bottom of the nose. It's tough because I can't see where I'm working. I gotta say, I have fun in all the different kinds of art styles that I do, but I have a fondness for these messy charcoal pictures. I really do. The problem is I can't draw everything in this style. Like basically, it's for portraits. Um, like I've tried to do dog pictures in this style. It didn't really work out. I tried to draw, you know, landscapes in this process. It doesn't really work out. It's basically just for drawing portraits. And probably like I've done like a couple of guys, like especially older men, and it kind of works for that. Probably somebody who's better than me can make it work every single time, but for me, it kind of works with female faces because they're naturally soft. Guys have like more, I don't know, wrinkles and beards and like all these different like facial features that are don't translate as well. I'm not saying that it wouldn't work. It's just I'd have to practice with it a little bit. But a nice soft face and stuff, it does work really well for that. And that's just, my own limitations. I haven't practiced enough to really get good at doing male, like one of the portraits I did was supposed to be of a guy, and it ended up looking more like androgynous, like a female anyway. So might as well have just done a female portrait. So I'm lightening this up here because this ridge up here really catches that light. Some of it's like, I don't know, kind of maybe reflected light. I don't want to overwork it. I want to leave some of that shadow in there, but I think up here as well, kind of just. I've mentioned the tip before for like getting tonal values right. You kind of squint at the picture and then you kind of squint at yours and you kind of, I mean, it's really weird to do, but you kind of squint at them both and you kind of like, it helps you see what parts can maybe be highlighted a little bit more. And the more you work with this stuff, I mean, there's no like time limit, you work it until you're happy with it, but the more you work with it, the more realistic it looks. Hey Ben. Yeah, Mr. Robot. Nice. In 2 hours. Huh. That's a little bit later than I thought. I was gonna rush through this to make sure that I'm there on time. We're doing a Mr. Robot watch party. I haven't seen that show. Like I only started watching it recently with this watch party. It's a lot of fun. I'm surprised I haven't seen it before because it's all about like hackers and stuff like that. That's like I'm into that. That's a lot of fun. It's such an interesting show too. Like the guy's got some mental issues, um, and I think they really deal with that well in that show. Maybe 1 hour. You let me know. I think it's supposed to be like 1 hour, like one and a half hours. Maybe it's two. I don't know. I mean, it's your watch party, so like if you don't know, I definitely don't know. But don't worry, I'll be done by then. 8:30. Eh, 2, maybe 3 hours. I don't know. 2 hours. 2 hours sounds right. Let's just call it 2 hours. Maybe some of you guys out there will be into this show that I'm watching now, but it's like my favorite show. It's on Netflix. It's Blue Eyed Samurai. It's so good. It's animated really well. The art style is awesome. The story is good. I mean, I don't know. Like I wouldn't call it like a unique story. It's basically samurai gets revenge, but I like it. It's really good. That's what I've been watching lately. I hate it when I run out of shows to watch. I've been watching that. I've been watching Invincible on Amazon. That's really good. I've been watching the Squid Game challenge, which I don't know about that. Like, it started off really cool. Like, I like the concept and everything, but then it ended up just basically being one of your survivor type challenges that people get voted off the island type deal. So I don't know if I'd recommend that one. It's okay. I really like the Squid Game like series, and they really tried hard to make it match that, but eventually it just becomes like, well, it's kind of predictable. You know what's going to happen. I mean, you don't know who's going to get kicked off, but you kind of know the direction that the show itself is taking. But one part that's cool. So like in the in the actual Squid Game series. It's kind of violent, so like people get shot and things like that, and they tried to bring some of that into this show. They have like these little like blood packets or something. So like when you're eliminated, you basically get shot. Um, I thought that was kind of cool, but it's kind of gimmicky. It loses its appeal after a while. So I'm basically doing some like reconstructive surgery on this girl's face, like just tiny little thing, and changes until I get it right. Like there's a highlight here. It's so tough. I appreciate Ben coming in and reminding me of that. All right, so I need to carve off this bit here. I like how this is turning out. It's not perfect, but I'm pretty happy with this so far. Do you guys ever get bored of watching me do these? Like drawing similar styles or anything like that? I always wonder what you guys want to watch. Because you know, I'm still practicing. I can change things up and draw different things. So like if you guys ever be like, oh geez, he's doing another portrait, for example. Like I do think it's important for an artist to do similar things, so that they get good at it. But also, I don't have to put everything on YouTube. I can draw whatever you guys want. Like if you guys are into like pet pictures and stuff like that, I can draw more of those. I probably will be in the coming year. I really want to focus on my dream of doing pet portraits for people who lost their pets and stuff. So I do plan on doing more of those. Kind of like a lot more, hopefully. Because like I feel like that's a good noble thing to get into, you know? Like I would feel really good about myself if that's like all I do as an artist. Just draw pictures for people who's lost their pets. I would feel really cool about that. Get some highlights down in here. Get a little bit of waviness to it. I do like that style. Now, this is where having a really tight eraser would be good because I really want to get some fine lines into that hair. I don't think I can do it with this eraser, but dark areas up here. Yeah, doggos are the best. Thanks, kid. I appreciate you giving that feedback. I mean, I could do a poll or whatever, but like, I enjoy doing the dogs and not just dogs. I like doing just wildlife, right? So like, don't get me wrong, I enjoy doing portraits just because like I want to be like a classical kind of artist, right? So like I want to make sure that I can do portraits. But I like doing wildlife. I like doing the dogs, even though like every single time I do a horse, like nobody gives a shit. Like that is my least watched videos, even though like I love horses and around here people love horses. So like I guess it just depends on like what you're into, but around here people love horse portraits. People love um, just horses in general, like the shape of them. There's like a lot of horse competitions around here. People get into that. People love the anatomy of it. People just worship horses around here. But then I put horses online, and it's like, I don't know, like people just tune it out, I guess. So it's kind of interesting to me, like all the different things. But yeah, so I enjoy drawing horses. I enjoy drawing bears and wolves, and I would probably really enjoy just going to the zoo and drawing as many animals as I could in one day. That would be awesome. I should probably try that next year. I'm gonna make a mental note of that as a challenge. Like I'm picturing a giraffe, like drawing a giraffe. That would be so much fun. Just bring a sketch pad, maybe some charcoal with me, and just sit down and draw all the different animals I see, like a little kid on a field trip or something. That would be awesome. But yeah, so like, I mean, it's interesting. I've got like a couple of different viewers, I think. I've got viewers who tune in to see the pet portraits, which is awesome. I've got viewers who tune in to see things like this. I've got viewers that tune in to, I don't know, try to learn something, which is probably the least serviced actually of my viewers. If you actually learn something from this, that would be amazing. Um, and then I've got people who like to see the cutesy things. Like, so some of the Christmas pictures that I have planned is I'm going to try the approach that I took to those Halloween pictures I did, and try to do like a series of Christmassy type pictures. And some people really like those, even though like I don't know, that's probably like the least one that I have experience in doing, like creating like stories and stuff like that with my art. But I really enjoy doing those. So I need the practice. But anyway, it's kind of strange to me. And this is just my guess. It's not like I've queried anybody to actually get some real feedback, like you probably should. Um, but it does seem like there's a couple of different types of viewers, and each of them have their own thing, which is cool, because I do work in in a variety of different ways. I guess I'm still trying to get my feet wet on like what I enjoy doing. I know I enjoy doing the I enjoy doing pet portraits. I really do. So that's a given. I'm always going to do pet portraits. But beyond that, it's kind of like I'm not really sure what kind of pictures I wanted to do. That was the idea behind looking into the Comic Con because like I'm like, well, if Comic Con is coming up in March, maybe I can just spend the next couple of weeks focused on doing pictures that are related to that, geekdom, fandom type stuff. Um, but nope, that's not in the cards. Not going to happen. All right, so I do feel like this over here can use a little bit of smudging. It's to make that background a little bit cooler. We kind of so one of the things I like to do with the eraser is I kind of like try to create like a hard edge, like a chisel to it, and then I can just drag that down, and it kind of like I don't know, kind of creates a cool effect. And I like things like this where like part of the image is lost in it. All right, so her eye shouldn't be just all black. Kind of get a bit of an iris going here. Now she looks freaky. Oops. So let me work with that a little bit. I should just leave it like that. She looks very, very scary. pupil in there. I don't know. I like how this picture is looking. It looks very like some of my messy charcoal pictures look very messy when it's all said and done. This one actually looks pretty good. Get a little bit of light in there. So the other tip, hey, it's my dad. Hey, Ernie. Um, the uh, the other tip, Ada's not in here. I know that she's into like actually drawing and stuff. So like whenever she's in here, I try to put on my teacher role where I'm like trying to instruct a little bit just because like I know that that's what she's interested in. But it maybe she'll come back and watch this later. So the other tip I would have for you is to always keep like some white around as well because like again, if you have toned paper, all the highlights are going to be in white, but here in this, you know, you kind of use it sparingly just to add highlights here and there. So so I kind of want the light to be kind of catching her hair here. So you know, put in a few little highlights. I don't want to go crazy because like I don't know, that's white doesn't always look well on these things. Right. Get a few little highlights over here. The thing is, this white is noticeably different than the other areas and stuff like that. So I kind of want to use it sparingly, but mostly when you're working with like white paper and you're doing a portrait like this, yeah, you want most of your highlights to be basically erased areas. You want to kind of keep this for like specific areas, like maybe here on the nose. You want kind of like a white ridge where that light's really catching it, kind of adds a adds another dimension to it. Oh, hey, cool. Yeah, so like the tip I was saving for you, Ada, is make sure you have like some white charcoal as well. So you can get white charcoal pencils, for example, if you really want to do some fine detailed work, but I just use this chunk of white pastel essentially, but it's really good for adding like little highlights. Um, you know, save it for like the most highlighted areas, but it does really well for that. So like here on the top of her lip, there's a that might be a bit much, but there's a part that kind of catches the light right there, and you know maybe like if she's wearing like lip gloss or something, there might be some parts that are a little bit highlighted because it's catching that light. It's also a way to go back over your charcoal and kind of cover up some mistakes. Yeah. Yeah, so if you do start doing some charcoal, make sure you pick up at least. So start with tone paper because that's going to be easier for you. You can probably use just like charcoal pencil. There's something called vine charcoal, which is let's see if I have it. So like this stuff, it just comes in these like little vines or whatever. You can use that to get started, and then definitely get some like white charcoal too. So get like a set that comes with white charcoal, and then you know use your pencil or that vine for the shadows or like the shadows area. Use the tone of the paper itself. Get that tone paper. That'll help you with the midtones, and then get some of that white charcoal for like the highlights and stuff. And you're in business. You know, I'm sure you'll create some awesome work, and you'll share it with us, and we can all follow along. And maybe you'll fall in love with the medium like I have, and that'll be a thing. A lot of people get started with charcoal because it's so easy to work with, and it creates really cool pictures. You know, like all kinds of different types of pictures too. Like here, I'm using it to kind of do something that might be more fine art, but you can also get experimental with it. You can use it with other mediums really well. Like I've used it with, well, basically everything. I use it with pastel a lot, but you can use it with like acrylics. Like you can do a sketch of something and then come back and add paint to it later. Uh, it just goes a long way. It's so versatile. I can't sing its praises enough. Charcoal should like pay me for the endorsement because I'm like basically plugging it. Get some kind of smudge this in a little bit. Create this shadow. Yeah, there you go, Bill. That's what I'm talking about. That's old school, the way to do it. Just basically start a fire in your backyard in the fire pit. Go out there and grab a burnt stick. That's what like got me started with charcoal. Like I'm like I want to make art like cavemen did, you know. They didn't have no fancy generals charcoals pencils. They just basically reached into a fire pit and started creating art. That's all you need. So here I'm kind of like basically darkening the roots and stuff to kind of like reinforce where that hairline starts. And I think we're getting pretty close to done. I don't want to overdo the picture because I think part of the style is it like, yeah, see, so it really didn't take that long. Like this is only like an hour and a half, and I feel like I could have got this done quicker if I was like, I don't know, working faster and not taking my time and stuff like that. But it's Friday night. We're just having fun and stuff. Again, ideally, I'd like to get to where I can create a portrait in like a half hour while somebody's sitting, and then I feel like I'm a real artist, you know. Like then I feel like I can, and maybe it's not charcoal, maybe it's paint, but a quick piece of work that looks good. That's important. And I don't want it like I've got some pictures back there that were kind of like done in 20 minutes that don't look good. They look very rushed, which is cool if that's the style you're going for, but that's not the style I'm going for. Yeah, so one of the things I found, like I have actually tried drawing with a stick from out of a fire pit and stuff like that, and it feels like the wood is too hard. Like I don't know how to make it softer so that you can get darker values out of it. If I can figure that out, yeah, sure, I would totally be using like fire sticks almost exclusively just because it's kind of cool. That would be like my thing, my my special power is drawing just with sticks out of the fire. That would be cool. And then maybe I wouldn't even like use paper. I would just like draw on walls and stuff like that. That would be like my entire thing. Everybody's got to have a thing, right? Got to make your mark as an artist somehow. Yeah, he's the guy who just takes sticks out of the fire and draws masterful portraits or something. I don't know. We kind of darken this area here. I think this is about done, to be honest. I like the style of it. It looks kind of cool. So, on your community that you would be streaming around now. All right, cool. I'll stop in here in a minute, Ada. I appreciate you stopping in on mine. Yeah, I think I'm about done with this, to be honest. I don't want to overdo it. Part of the coolness of the style is that it is expressive. Um, it's not meant to be like 100% finished. You're supposed to leave a little bit to the viewer's imagination. I do like that eye. That eye looks awesome. I wish my eyes always turned out that cool. It's almost like her eye is kind of glowing a little bit. I like that. Kind of darken up underneath the eye. This is the part where I go back and I kind of like, I don't know, I'm not even looking at the reference picture anymore. I'm kind of like just figuring out, you know, little bits. I think I can add a little bit of highlight to her eyeball just by lifting up some of that charcoal. Create a little bit of depth there. Maybe round her eyeball off a little bit by shadowing it. I want to create the type of art that gets shared on Pinterest. That's my new goal. I want to create the type of art that people like to share. Thanks, kid. Like sometimes I put these pictures up on various places and they do track how many times they got shared. Like Reddit is one of them, and it's nice getting thumbs up on Reddit. That's kind of cool. But like when somebody actually shares it, I'm like, oh, that's really cool because like that lets me know that somebody liked it enough to share it with somebody and be like, hey, this is the kind of pictures you should draw. You know, like in my mind, in my like fantasy world, they're sharing it with like artist friends or something like that. That is like really rewarding when something gets shared, you know. It's one thing to just like get a thumbs up. Don't get me wrong, I love the thumbs up. You guys keep giving me thumbs up. I appreciate that. But like when something gets shared, that makes me feel really special. Or I don't know. Like us like artists in general, like I don't even count myself as an artist. I count myself as like somebody who's trying. Like I'm just trying here, guys. Um, but like artists in general are like such a needy bunch. Like we need that sort of like reinforcement from others to validate our existence, I guess. And these social media tools and stuff, they just play into that. It's like, oh, I didn't get any thumbs up on that. It must suck. Now I'm smart enough to know that the internet really can't tell you whether a picture is all that great because like a lot of it has to do with like the time of day you post something, a bunch of weird stuff like if I post something on Reddit at the wrong time of day, it will get zero views. Like if I post this picture tomorrow on a Saturday, it might do okay. But if I post it on a Sunday, nope, nobody's ever going to see it. Now, does that matter? Does that mean that the picture itself sucks? No, not really. It's just, you know, the how the algorithm works. Now, I know these type of things, but I feel kind of bad for people who don't understand how algorithms work and stuff. And they probably take it to heart to like, oh, I didn't get any views and stuff. Like my artwork sucks. Um, if if there are artists out there that feel that way, like you know, send me an email or something. I'll talk you out of it because like it really does matter like what time of day you post it and stuff like that. It's not the quality of the picture that you did or anything like that. You shouldn't feel so bad, is what I'm saying. Send me an email. I will talk you into feeling better about yourself. All right. So I do think that this is about done. I'm like putting in some finishing touches, I think. Like I don't feel like this should be so pointy here at the end. Round that off a little bit. But yeah. So I I don't know about this eye. I'm gonna darken that up just a little bit. Like I think it glowing and stuff kind of distracts you a little bit. I think that's better a bit. So hard to get a good picture. Layer that a little bit better. Anyway, I think that's about as good as I can do. All right, so I do think that I'm gonna call this done. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me on a Friday. And if you like dog pictures, you can expect more dog pictures in the future. If you like Christmas fun art, I got some of that coming out. I've got one video that I haven't fully done that's kind of a Mr. and Mrs. Claus. uh, somebody somebody asked me to draw their parents, which it was their people who dress up as Santa Claus, and I'm pretty happy with that. I think that turned out pretty well. I just haven't finished the video yet because it's not like a normal time lapse type deal. So you can expect that to be coming out soon. A lot of cool stuff, a lot of Christmas stuff. Hopefully everybody's enjoying the holidays so far. You know, we're in the thick of it now. It's December. Um, yeah, but yeah. So I'm gonna call this done. Kid, I hate it when I get the flu. I hope that that passes pretty quickly. But yeah, you definitely got my my healing thoughts coming your way. Virtual soup, if you will, some chicken soup, mental chicken soup heading your way. So I hope you do feel better soon. For the rest of you guys, I hope you enjoyed hanging out with me on this Friday night or whenever you do get to watch it, Saturday for some people. And I'll create some more. I'll see you guys next Tuesday, and I'll catch up with you guys then. See, my dog's going psycho back there, so I gotta go. See you guys. Have a good one. Bye.